Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to the Bytes webinar. Today we'll be covering Citrix Mobility, and we have Alex Hill from Citrix, one of their technical specialists. Welcome, to this lovely sunny Friday afternoon. Not long now till the weekend. Just want to apologise for those of you that tried to join or did in fact join last week. We did have some technical problems, but pretty sure everything's going to be okay today. So just before I pass you over to Alex, just going to go through some housekeeping rules for the webinar. So you are muted during this webinar, but you can ask questions via the question box on your right hand side. There is actually, those questions will be asked during a Q&A session at the end, and we're also recording this webinar so we can send you the link afterwards. But what we do ask you is if you can please complete the critique form at the end. It just helps us really keep these types of things relevant. So hope you enjoyed today. And I'll pass you over to Alex now. Sure. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much. And my name is Alex Hill from Citrix, and today with Bytes we're going to be taking you through our enterprise mobility solution. As you know, you've been through all the housekeeping. So what we have nowadays for you to be able to go and mobilize your business is the XenMobile MDM and the Mobile Solutions Bundle. And this is an end-to-end solution, enterprise solution to help you mobilize your business to adopt the changing face of IT with regards to smartphones and also with regards to tablet devices that are coming into your businesses, because I'm sure you're all seeing a lot of that traction coming into your business, a lot of change in your businesses around the devices and the types of devices and all of the types of access points that your users want to access their information from within their businesses. So we've made some acquisitions around this, we've made a lot of moves around this, and you'll see a lot more innovation from us as usual, Citrix, around this whole market. But we've had some great press around, we made an acquisition about October, November last year of an organisation called XenPrize, and that really helped us to build out our mobile device management solution as well as our mobile application management solution, and we'll take you through those as we get into today's webinar, the next half an hour or so. But in essence what we have is unique within the whole market, because we can give you as potential Bytes and Citrix customers the ability to go and have an end-to-end enterprise mobility solution for your users and for your businesses to help enable your businesses to be enterprise mobility aware. And if we look at why this is important to all of you, well, it's important because it's happening. If you look at the end of last year, there was about 150 million mobile devices in enterprise, and that was a spend that you were all spending on this of about $800 million. If you look at where things will be in 2 years' time, you'll be having to spend a lot more money on managing and updating and purchasing these devices, and therefore there'll be a lot more of these mobile-based devices within your businesses, 600 million. So that's a massive increase from where we are now, and that's not going to be a slow increase. That's going to be a huge ramp up as people adopt new tablets, as we switch over to other smartphones, maybe moving away from what we've already got and moving away to different types of smartphones based on the user preference or based upon just the user choice, or even just the user buying and purchasing their own devices and bringing them into the enterprise. So as businesses, we all need to be ready for this. We all need to be able to go and provide services to these users and make sure these users can remain mobile, because the more mobility we can build into our business, the more productive our users can be. Things like cost of sale, working harder, being able to be more reactive as businesses come into play very strongly if we can enable this enterprise mobility message. So why can't you go and do it today, and what's the real issue that we're trying to help with Bytes you to go and cover as a business? Well, if you look at how a user views mobility today, it's complicated, right? They've got lots of access points, lots of different areas they can access information from. They can go and use a PC and get to Excel, but equally they can go and open a spreadsheet on an iPad using an Office emulator. Equally, they can go and then browse some different devices, and if we're using SaaS-based applications, we can go and use lots of different devices to access our SaaS applications. We can take data out and we can save it. And there's loads and loads of access points, and it goes on, and the user basically starts to become a bit confused as to what they should be using, how they should be using things, and how they can actually access their data and how they can be more efficient. So, and this will confuse the user. At some point they're going to go, well, which device can I do this on? I don't really know anymore. I don't really know what I can do on this device. I'm not really sure what device I can take with me, and they're going to have to take chances, etc. on, well, what can we actually do around using devices, and which device, if I'm going to go on a business trip, for example, do I need to take to make sure I can do my work? Do I take my laptop and my tablet, or can I just take the tablet to access my documents or to read my documents offline on the plane during my travels? So what we need to do is make it easy for them, make it easy for them to consume on whichever device they use, make it easy for them to use, and make it pretty transparent as to what they can do and what they can't do. But also then manage it, maintain it, make sure it operates, even if, as corporate IT, we don't own the actual device itself, and it's the user's own device, their own personal choice of device they want to use to access that data or that application. But when we boil it down, all the user really wants is the freedom to access all their apps and data from any device. So both those devices they have access to now, and potentially those devices they choose going into the future. And they want to be able to be confident that they can access things from those devices. If they fail once in being able to access something from their iPad, they probably won't try again. Or if they do, they'll have some trepidation around doing that. So we want to make it easy for them to consume, easy for them to use these devices, to do their jobs, to do their work, and to be productive, which is in essence all the end user ever really wants to be. So that's great from an end user perspective, but what kind of challenges does that present most of you on the phone today? And well, this presents big challenges for you, massive challenges in terms of two areas. The ability to meet IT security and compliance requirements is the biggest. How can we manage this? How do we keep our data secure? How do we do all the things? This is what you're doing now probably in your businesses, making sure that you're compliant, making sure that you're secure, making sure that you're not leaking data, losing data, and that's probably something you're focusing on now and trying to achieve now. However, when all these new applications, when all these new devices come into your business, all that's going to happen is that's going to become more difficult for you to be able to do. Mobility will make a lot of this harder, and mobility will make it harder because in the first place it's easier to lose, or it's easier for people to steal these devices off their users. And I think going back to about 2011, there were about 70 million smartphones were either lost or stolen, and that was just in 2011 alone, and only 7% of those were ever recovered. So we need to be able to be compliant, because the likelihood is within all our businesses some of these devices are going to be lost, and then if one of those devices is accessed or used in a bad way to get information off it, you're looking at data breaches from your businesses, you're looking at compliancy issues, you're looking at people taking you to court or being taken to court because you've lost data. So how can we allow this? How can we basically allow security and compliancy regulations? How can we meet them whilst allowing mobility within our businesses? Well, in the first place, we need to do this because we need to be able to make our users mobile, we need to be competitive businesses, but we need to make sure everything is secure and compliant within our businesses. So it's a tough choice. How do we do these? And if we didn't have to do this, we wouldn't all be on this webinar today. So we need to balance the needs of security, but also we need to keep compliancy, but then also give the users the freedom, the accessibility they want and they need to do their job. So the problem is, solving this, well, it requires lots of tools. There's lots of things you have to be able to do to solve this issue. You have to be able to manage devices. You maybe have to just manage applications on those devices. Equally, in both cases, you have to manage data down on those devices. You have to make sure you're compliant, that you can audit, that you can report, that you can remove as and when you see fit. And traditionally, to do that requires more than one tool. You may have some tools already within your businesses that do this, but to do the end-to-end piece, to do this for the whole enterprise, you probably don't, at this point in time, have the right tools. So what we want to be able to do, and what we are able to help all of you do with Bytes, is solve this. And solve this without having to go to lots of tools, to be able to give you a complete set of tools to meet all the security and compliance requirements from one business and one organization. And this is really the need. If we kind of break down the need, and this is where we're really trying to help you to meet the user requirements as well as meet your own security requirements. If we look at this, there's two things here, as we said, the user and all of you in IT. So we look at what the user wants. What do they really want? What does it all boil down to? So in the first place, on a device, they probably want their email. And whatever device they've got, they want to have their email on it so they can be reactive, they can pick up information as and when they need to. They also probably want to do some secure browsing. Either that's browsing into intranet internal websites that need to be exposed to the external internet, and then finally they need to have access to their documents and do so securely. They want to have access to any application, so they want all their apps available from those devices, because again, they don't want to have to think about, well, if I'm going away for a week, do I take my tablet or do I take my laptop? I just want to take one device and that's it from a user perspective. And equally also, bear in mind that users just want to log in once. You know, at the moment they may have lots of usernames and passwords, but it's on a laptop. They can write down the information, they can write down the username and password for each application in a book, or they can keep it in a file on their desktop. But equally, then what happens when that user goes mobile and starts to use different mobile devices? Well, how are they going to remember the usernames and passwords? How are they going to do that? What would be easy for them is if they could just log in once and have access to everything. So that's kind of boiling down what the user wants. What you will want on the call today probably is, in the first place, as and when you probably look at adopting mobile devices within your businesses, whether it's mobile smartphones, whether it's mobile tablets, you want to be able to manage those devices just like you probably manage a corporate asset today, a corporate laptop or a corporate desktop. So you want the ability to fully manage, fully lock down those devices. For those users, though, that don't have a corporate tablet, you probably still want to deliver applications to them, but you want those applications to be secure. You want them to be monitored, maintained, managed, updated from a central point to make sure that the user can use them effectively and can be a good, productive user. And then finally, you want to control network access. You want to be able to control what they can see, where they can see, how they can see things from their device as well. So this is the challenge. We need to balance the end user's requirements and your IT requirements within your business as well. And that's the difficult challenge that we're probably all facing at the moment. So what we're able to offer you with Bytes is the complete enterprise mobility solution to help you mobilize your business, to help you meet all those challenges, meet user requirements, but also meet your own IT requirements to do this. And if you look at the things that you need to be able to do this, probably you need three things. The first is device management. If we go and purchase a smartphone as a business tool, we need to manage it like a business tool. Whether that's a smartphone or indeed whether it's a tablet device, we need to be able to go and manage it just like it was a business tool. So we need some way of managing devices, device management down at the bottom there. Equally, on those devices, we need to manage our data. You know, our data is our core. Our data is the bit we want to keep secure, and it's the piece that we actually want to go and utilize and protect. So how do we do data management within our business? How do we make sure we can take data online or offline onto these devices and manage them? And then finally, we want application management. So for those devices that we don't own and we don't want to manage, we still want to make sure that they have secure access to email or secure access to documents or secure access into our internal infrastructure if we wish. So then we just need what's called mobile application management. Application management down on the device, taking native apps offline but managed by corporate IT, even if we don't manage the device ourselves as a corporate asset, even if it's a user-owned device that they get to use. So from our perspective, you know, we have the most complete mobile portfolio. If you look at all the pieces here that come together to make up this whole solution, starting off with mobile device management, we do that. Moving on to Sandboxed mail and web, secure mail and web application, well, we do that as well, we'll come on to that. Mobile app security, mobile data control, mobile network control, and single sign-on identity management. We do all those pieces within the XenMobile solution suite. But equally, what about still delivering our Windows apps and desktops? We still need those in a business, and mobile users will still need those to do some of their work, because I don't think any of us on this call today could actually go and move across to a mobile device because the applications just aren't there for us to be able to do that at this point in time. So we can add in XenApp and XenDesktop. You've probably all heard of XenApp, you've probably all heard of XenDesktop as well, and that's still an important part of this message, although not part of the XenMobile solution. And then finally, what about our ability to collaborate with each other? Our ability to be able to share information, share meeting, attend online meetings, all these other pieces. We need some way of collaborating as a business, and we can offer that with our go-to products. So again, with the XenMobile piece, we can do most of this, but adding in XenApp and XenDesktop for you to be able to deliver your Windows apps and Windows desktops. And the collaboration piece, we can give you the full end-to-end solution from one single vendor through Bytes. But going back to the real focus of today, which is our XenMobile solution, 5 key features we'll take you through in the next 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll open up the floor to questions, and 5 key features that will help you drive your businesses forward into mobility. So the first feature is all about enterprise-grade mobile device management. Being able to give users the choice, or give you the choice of which devices that you want to deploy, but then still be able to manage the device throughout its whole life cycle. So being able to say, here's a corporate tablet now, we're going to go and invest in tablets rather than laptops. And how do we actually go out and then deliver these laptops, deliver these devices to an end user and manage them to make sure they're secure, to make sure people can't do the wrong things on them, add the wrong applications, use the wrong system, make settings changes on the device that they shouldn't, to make sure we can locate it, to make sure we can do simple things like to make sure it's got a PIN code or an access code on it so no one can just pick it up and get access to it. On, and do all these things from a central point that's automatically pushed down to the device wherever it is. And that's mobile device management. Now, we made an acquisition of a company called XenPrize that I touched on earlier, who are able to do this with us. They were a top right Gartner Magic Quadrant company when we purchased them, and now that's our XenMobile MDM solution. So we can do app whitelisting, app blacklisting on there. We can wipe the device if we wish. If it's lost, we can locate the device. It all plugs into Active Directory to give us full management. We can detect if things are jailbroken or messed around with, etc. Plus, we can start to make settings. We can monitor things on it. We can make sure it's performing right, that it's being used right, and we can give the user a great user experience down on that tablet device. Even if we give it to the user and then never see that device again, we can still give full management to it. So we can manage the device throughout the whole life cycle of a device. And that's really where we own the device. What if we don't own the device? What if it's a user's bring your own device? What if they decide, well, I've got an iPad, I really want to use it for work, so I'm going to bring it in for work. How can we do that? How can we manage that effectively? How can we make sure that the applications down on that device are secure and managed and maintained properly, and that even in the first place, pardon me, the user has access to the right applications? Well, again, we can start to introduce sandboxed mail, docs and browsers and many other applications. Because in this case, the user is king. They want access to their information. And people have got these devices, they know how they work, they know what they should be able to do, and they want to be able to work properly. From your perspective in IT, well, we need to be able to go and run this properly. And combined with a great user experience, we can give the user access to mail, documents and browser, or equally any other application that they want, because we can let you package it up down to the end user. So what we have is our XenMobile mobile application management solution. We have our own mail browser called @Work Mail that will actually deliver down onto a local device, but in essence it will look and feel and run just like a native email browser, but with a better user experience. It has a built-in calendar, for example, has a built-in contacts, so we'd have to go to separate applications to see our calendar and contacts. But that application is managed and maintained by IT. Even if it's on a user's own device, we can push it down onto the device, we can sandbox it, and we can manage and maintain it. Equally, we can remove it if we so wish to. So we can make sure that the user, if they leave the company and they take their own personal device with them, can't take any email with them. And that's really one of the keys to getting people enabled in mobility for this. Because that's what they're going to spend their time on these devices doing. Accessing email, but then moving on to reading, editing and uploading documents, where we have something called ShareFile, which is a really fantastic cloud data storage product which allows us to put our data in the cloud or access our data from our data center onto mobile devices from anywhere in the world and do so securely. And then also we have our mobile browser. So what does mobile browser do? Because there's already probably a browser on all the devices you're talking about. Well, what our mobile browser allows us to do is say to users, here's another web browser. What this web browser gives you access to is secure access into your internet-based applications, your SaaS applications, for example. But equally, we can use it to give users access from their mobile devices, wherever that mobile device is, into their internal web applications. If you're using internal CRM or any internal intranet sites, we can securely expose those to the mobile device wherever they are, using our own secure browser linked into a micro VPN that would give us access through into the infrastructure. And those three things combined with a great user experience means you can actually start to deliver mobile applications to any device that the user chooses to pick up of their own willing. And this works on iOS and Android devices at this point in time. So it gives you great freedom, great flexibility to be able to go and deliver those pieces in. And this is a suite of technologies under our XenMobile Solutions Bundle, what used to be called Cloud Gateway, some of you will know it as, called the MDX suite of technologies. But then we can take a step on. We can start to then look at how they use the device in their personal time and how they use the device in their work time. And if they're buying their own device, obviously they're going to have Facebook, obviously going to have their own personal applications on there, but equally they probably want to have access to Office HD Pro and Office Emulator. They probably also want access into a CRM system. In this case, we use the example of Salesforce. And equally, they want to use that device to make notes on, so they use things like Evernote. But within Evernote, that's going to have business confidential information because they're going to go into meetings and make notes. So NDM suite of technologies mean we can merge business applications with personal applications on the same device and keep both secure. And if we give you the example here, here's a typical mix of applications on your kind of average device. So you've got Chrome, Google Chrome is a browser there, you've got Salesforce, you've got Pinterest, and they're all kind of personal applications. Equally, you've got Evernote, which is, even though you can go and get it themselves, business application, has business data in it. You've got Salesforce, and you've got Office HD Pro as an Office Emulator. And what we don't want to happen is we don't want communication between all those applications, because you could extract information from Salesforce, and Salesforce is CRM, so it's going to have lots of customer contact information, lots of corporately sensitive information in it, and you don't want to open up in Office HD Pro, because then how do you pull that information back? How do you make sure that that information isn't lost? You don't want them to be able to accidentally put it in Facebook and vice versa. So we need to keep the separation between the two. So how do we do that? Well, we let the user in the first place go and get their own applications. Right? So a normal way of accessing applications they can go and do. They go to the App Store, they get Chrome or Facebook or Pinterest. But then any other corporate applications you deliver to that user on that device through the XenMobile solution, the MAM solution, Mobile Application Management solution. They'll still sit on the same home screen, they'll still look like a normal application to the user, there's been no confusion about how they use it or anything. But the good thing is, if we're deploying the application, we deploy it into a secure sandbox on that device, and we can then set policies against it to make sure that no user can share information between a work application and a life application. All the work applications can share information between each other, but they can't share information with the life, their personal applications. And it means we almost have a separate environment on that device, even though it's not owned by us, for them to be able to go and work. If we need to, we can remove all those applications and get rid of all the associated data with them, because we can stop data from leaking out from those applications. So a really good way of doing it, and that's our suite of technologies that allow us to do that. We have secure app containers to drop the applications into. We have a micro VPN to let them talk back to certain resources securely. We can lock and wipe applications on demand. We can stop interact controls, which is stopping them from talking to each other without the right authority to be able to do so, and even to the point where we can do conditional access policies. And they're really about saying, well, you can download an application, you can take an application onto a device, and the application works on the corporate network. As soon as you go off the corporate network, though, it stops working. And that could be an application that should only be used in the office. Let's say you're a pharmaceutical company and you're developing medicines. You don't want that information to leave the office, but you want to have access so they can walk around, go into meetings and see that information. Well, we can push down the application, the relevant application onto the device. We can take that data. They can see that data on that device when they're in office. As soon as that device leaves the office, i.e. leaves the corporate network, we can actually stop them from using the application until they get back on the corporate network. And you can see examples of there being able to disable camera, disable opening, disable copy and pasting between corporate and personal applications, on and on, as you can see from the list there. So we can do conditional access policies against the applications. And when we talk about this, we're talking about any app, any device. So at the moment, with the mobile application management solution, we're supporting iOS and Android, but with our mobile device management solution, we're supporting iOS, Android, Blackberries, and also some of the Windows 8 devices as well. The full list is available to you from Bytes. So if we move on then, so that's kind of mobile application management, mobile device management. If we kind of spend the last 5 minutes or so looking at what else we can do with this, well, as I said before, identities are going to be important for the end user. So being able to have simple access for users from a mobile device is going to be critical. So again, one of the things we can do here is start to federate the user. Once they've logged into our XenMobile solution, generally through our Citrix receiver client down on the device, we can give them simple access by saying you log in once, and generally using a radio authentication, probably using two-factor authentication for some of your users. And once you've logged in, even if you then log in or use an application, let's say a SaaS application like ShareFile, which uses a completely different username and password, you're federated. You can go straight in to it. And that's an easy way for a user to not have to remember any other password, your username or password, other than their main identity that gets them into XenMobile, generally their Active Directory username and password. So it gives us simple access into that for the users, so the users don't have to remember anything other than their username and password that they already know. And that's just, get over that idea that you just have to log in once and then log in again and log in again, which becomes frustrating for the users, and then you're as administrators getting a lot of hassle because lots of usernames and passwords. So what we want to be able to do is give them a single identity, but also provision from a single identity as well. And that's really one of the keys we can give you. So there you go, a really good high-level overview, I think, for the last half an hour of that. The three things we talked about: device management, we'll come on to data management and app management as well, to be able to go and do this. That's available to you on smartphones, tablets, PCs and Macs as well, to a certain extent, from these applications. If you want to have a quick look at what this looks like, very, very simple architecture. To do MDM, you need a Windows 2008 server there called a ZDM server on this diagram, going through an SMG server, secure messaging gateway, and then out to the device. We can also cloud host that for you, so you don't even have to have any infrastructure in your environment to actually deliver this. Or we can, to do the MAM piece, we have a simple app controller and a NetScaler access gateway to secure that traffic. So either way, we can give you a very simple architecture to go implement this. Down on the device, only two clients: our XenPrice client, which is now renamed the XenMobile MDM client, or the receiver to do mobile application management as well. So we have some great case studies. I'm not going to read these out today because they're very American, and some of these probably won't mean a lot to you, but lots of great customers out there like yourselves using this to package up applications, manage devices out in the field, and use this effectively. So if we talk about how we then can go and do this in the day in a life or the life cycle of a device, just to give you some examples, we'll go through 3 steps that we can do: provisioning a new user with the solution, on-the-go access, and user status change within the business. So let's start off with provisioning a new user. So provisioning a bring your own device, well, in the first place you need to create a user's username and password in Active Directory. And then you start to assign users to roles. And this will determine, in the first place, how their mobile device is managed if you've been given it corporately, or which applications they get as a mobile application management solution. If it's a corporate device, we can also then start to configure email, Wi-Fi they need to join, set a PIN code, which applications they have on device. If it's a consumer device, the user's own device, you can just say which applications they get. So users then go into a BYO device, for example, and they put our Citrix receiver on it, put username and password in. Once they've logged in, they see all the applications from a unified app store that need to do their job, whether they're Windows-based, if you have XenApp, whether they're native-based with the XenMobile, or whether they're SaaS applications hosted in a third-party SaaS vendor. We'll still show a link through there, and we'll still handle that authentication, as I talked about earlier. They can subscribe to new applications. They can also access all those applications. That can be any device they then choose to pick up. They'll get the same experience. So whichever device on the go they choose to go and use, they get follow me apps and data on the device. They get SmartAccess to get that context-aware control, so hiding things when we're not on the corporate network, turning off things like printing, cutting paste when we're not on the right device or on the right network, or whether we're on an untrusted environment as well. And the good thing about this is it looks the same on every device to a user, so the user isn't going to get confused by this at all. They're going to be able to access this from any device. If they know how to use it from one device, they're going to be able to access it in exactly the same way from any other device they choose to pick up to do their job. But then if the user decides to go and use that from a third-party device, well, let's say they have full access from their mobile device because there's not a lot they can do, but they then choose to go and access this from a PC, which will actually allow under XenMobile to a certain extent, and certainly under XenApp and XenDesktop if you add that in as well. So once they move to a different device, we'll start to change their user experience. We'll start to change what they can do within the business or within the application as well. So we can add this SmartAccess, policy control, this kind of granular access solution into the solution as and when we need it. Finally, if the user status changes, let's say they leave the company and we haven't had time to go and get the device off them, well, all we actually need to do is disable their AD account. If we disable their AD account, XenMobile will take over and remove all their applications, native or access to mobile remote applications, remove all the data that they have from those devices, and equally then go out to all our third-party SaaS vendors that we're pushing through XenMobile and remove all the accounts and reclaim those accounts for other users that may come in to replace them or that may be waiting for an account within that business. So we can handle that user status change, and that's all handled through XenMobile as well. So that's really where I wanted to finish, and that's the mobile solutions bundle that you probably heard of, talking about the mobile application piece, data management, which is our share file product, which we'll come back to. This other webinars that we'll be doing around the share file piece, how we can manage data in the cloud, etc. Managing the device or managing the applications. Equally, we can give you both at the same time. So that's pretty much me finishing on time, actually. Half an hour, as I said before. I think what we'll do now is bring Ron, and if there are any questions coming, please let me know right now. We'll hang on for another 20 seconds or so. Okay, don't see if there are any questions, so I think we'll close out the webinar there. It was recorded, so I believe you'll get a link to download the recording. If there are any questions, you've got the guys at Bytes who will be contacting afterwards to see if you want any more information, or you've probably all got the Bytes account manager details. For me, thank you very much. Have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.